So Rob Wolf is in the European Parliament, and he asked a question during a hearing with Pfizer about the transmission of the vaccines. And this sparkled an interesting conversation that people have been using, of course, depending on from where they watch. And I would like to show you what he said.
If you don't get vaccinated, you're antisocial. This is what the Dutch Prime Minister and Health Minister told us. You don't get vaccinated just for yourself, but also for others. You do it for all of society. That's what I said. Today, this turned out to be complete nonsense. In a COVID hearing in the European Parliament, one of the Pfizer directors just admitted to me, at the time of introduction, the vaccine had never been tested on stopping the transmission of the virus. This removes the entire legal basis for the COVID passport. The COVID passport that led to massive institutional discrimination as people lost access to essential parts of society. I find this to be shocking, even criminal. Please watch the video until the end.
Voor u, mevrouw Small, heb ik de volgende vraag waar ik een duidelijk antwoord op wil. And I will speak in English so there are no misunderstandings. Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
This is scandalous. Millions of people worldwide felt forced to get vaccinated because of the myth that you do it for others. Now this turned out to be a cheap lie. This should be exposed. Please share this video.
All right. So, now, after that, let's read, of course, this created worldwide, let's read the fact checking from Reuters. And then I will give some opinions about that. Fact check: preventing transmission never required for COVID vaccine. Initial approval: Pfizer did reduce transmission of early variants. Social media users are circulating a video clip of a testimony of a Pfizer executive who is said to admit that the company and its partner BioNTech did not test whether their COVID vaccine reduced virus transmission prior to rolling it out, which is something the companies were not required to do for initial regulatory approval, nor did they claim to have done. To get emergency approval, companies needed to show that the vaccines were safe and prevented vaccinated people from getting ill. They did not have to show the vaccine would also prevent people from spreading the virus to others. Once the vaccine were on the market, independent researcher in multiple countries studied people who received the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine and did show that vaccination reduced transmission of variants circulating at the time. As this result on the transmission were emerging in early 2021, national health authorities in many countries implemented or proposed vaccine passport style regulation that prompted ongoing debate over the ethical and legal basis of the rules. The misleading post implied that national restrictions such as vaccine passport were based on the promise that vaccine blocking virus spread that neither the company nor its EU regulator made before the vaccine were marketed. In a recent tweet shared more than 10,000 times, one user wrote, Pfizer director admits vaccine wasn't tested for transmissibility. It wasn't intended to prevent transmission. Politician and MSM spread misinformation. Vaccine mandate passport were immoral and unscientific and should have been illegal. Other posts containing portions of Pfizer executive testimony with similar claims can be seen here, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It was not required and not promised. Unknown. As clinical trial data on vaccine efficacy against the main endpoints, symptomatic and severe disease, began to be released in November 2020. Researchers and regulators made clear in public statement that the vaccine effect on virus transmission remained unknown. Let me see. It's impressive, but scientists remain cautious. Okay. In a summary of its vaccine assessment published on December 21st, 2020, the EMS states the impact of vaccination with core community on the spread of the SARS-CoV virus in the community is not yet known. It is not yet known how much vaccinated people may still be able to carry and spread the virus. Okay, and then after, vaccine did reduce transmission of more or less 70, how much percent? Okay, that's the fact checked. Something interesting as well that I want to show you is if you type Pfizer transmission from a year ago. Okay, let me see. There was something I wanted from. Okay, these are interesting videos. Those are from 1 year ago, right? Fauci confirmed extremely low risk of transmission for fully vaccinated. So this has created a whole craziness of, and I remember that the problem for me, okay, Fauci, what is interesting to me about this whole thing, right, is I want to YouTube. Just want to look at something if I can find it. All right. I want to read you something else. This is the rules from YouTube misinformation policies, right? COVID-19 medical information policy. And I think this is also interesting. It says here, COVID-19 medical misinformation policy, which means that if you are a YouTube creator, these policies are the stuff that YouTube says that you cannot post. So YouTube doesn't allow content about COVID-19 that poses serious risk of egregious harm. YouTube doesn't allow content that spreads medical misinformation that contradicts local health authority or the World Health Organization medical information about COVID-19. This is limited to content that contradicts WHO and local health authority guidance on treatment, prevention, diagnosis, transmission, the existence of COVID-19. Okay. Now, transmission, where is transmission? Example. These are examples of content that is not allowed on YouTube. Deny that COVID exists, claim that people didn't have died from COVID, claim that the vaccine, etc., etc. Let me see where, if I find transmission. All right. Transmission misinformation, content that promotes transmission information that contradict local health, content that claim that COVID is not contagious, content that claim that COVID cannot spread in certain climates and geographies, content that claim that any group of individual has immunity to the virus cannot transmit the virus. And the problem here for me, and I understand, listen, politicians will try to use all the information that they have to try to, in their advantage. But there's a real debate here that we had and that needs to be had, right? About, why is your comment not here? I don't see it on YouTube. That video was straight up fake news and alarmist. It shows a lack of understanding of what the vaccine was meant to do. You know, something that I find interesting here is that I understand that Pfizer never made those claims, right? The problem to me is depending on where you live. Here in Portugal, we never had all these debates. But I remember, I'm watching a lot of French TV, of course. But I believe that out there in France, the government, and depending on the country where you lived, the laws of COVID were very, very drastic, right? From China, Russia to Portugal, where, listen, everybody was actually here in Portugal. Yeah, when the president told everybody, please stay home, protect yourself, etc., it's gonna be fine. We got this. Everybody more or less stayed home. Everybody respected everything. There was a few parties here and there, stuff. Some people got infected and stuff, and we had death as everywhere. I mean, I felt sick. I'm double vaccinated, triple. I mean, if you count the fact that I was sick, I guess I got my 3 doses. The problem here that this person is, in my opinion, showing is that there's a lot of people that, and I don't believe that who's at fault here are the governments. I believe that, sorry, take back what I said. I don't believe that who's at fault here are the people at Pfizer. I believe the problem is some governments use that idea early in the beginning that people who were vaccinated would not transmit to other people. And it feels that from what they said in France and in a lot of countries to impose the passport, the QR code thing, and the people who work at hospital, and they told everybody, if you want to keep your job as a public servant, you had to get vaccinated or lose your job. And a lot of people went and got vaccinated because of that, and a lot of people as well got vaccinated because they wanted to be able to go to a restaurant. So a lot of people started having their QR codes, etc., etc. And there's this idea, or this, I mean, people can start asking themselves, if once you paid so much money, and people are still trying to know what are the conversation between the head of the European Union, Jancy. Listen, you see, MJ, your is it me, or let me do your two latest comments? They appear on Ecamm, but they don't appear here. Interesting. They don't appear on YouTube. They just come to Ecamm, but it feels like YouTube just removes them. We're gonna have to do a show about big tech becoming tyrannic and deciding what can be said or not. Let me know if you are the one who removed those last two comments, or is it YouTube? Because that is strange. Because, I mean, we can have a conversation. We have the right to have the conversation, right? Next thing you know, I'm gonna see that my video is already unmonetized because I said the word COVID I don't know how many times. Let me see. Of course it is limited. These people are crazy. Oh my God. Request review. Come on, like, so some subjects we cannot talk about it because you guys get pissed. I didn't remove the comments, they censored me. That shit is crazy. You didn't say nothing special. I was the first to warn you people about this vaccination game. That's crazy. Okay, so, and you listen, you said you didn't say nothing special in your comment. You just said that. I totally agree that some governments spread misinformation which the scientists did not. So the argument is with the governments. Exactly. And that's the same thing for me. That's what I'm saying. So YouTube, you don't need to remove monetization on that video, you idiots. Listen. A lot of governments, a lot of people lost their job. As a nurse, as a doctor, a lot of people lost their YouTube channels just for saying exactly what the Pfizer lady said. She just said, we had to, first of all, I don't know what the speed of science means, because speed of science is slow normally. But I mean, so she said, listen, we had to work fast. We had to find a solution because everybody was scared. I do agree. We had a vaccine that was ready on time. Everybody was waiting for that. Was it tested enough, etc., etc.? But then at a point, the choice was not left to people to decide, do you want to take it or you don't want to take it? That's where the problem begins, because a lot of people, they told you, you don't have to take it, but if you don't take it, your life's going to be a nightmare. So a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their restaurants, their nightclubs, because they had to implement all these QR code stuff. Listen, I'm talking from the point of view of somebody who's vaccinated. Do my QR code still work? Let me see. Where's my QR code? Where's my... Yeah, still have my QR code, even if we don't use it anymore, etc. But like this whole thing that everybody put in place that looked, and listen, they were even showing how it's done in China and saying, look at them, the efficiency of the Chinese, everybody's in prison in their home and they have to put a QR code to be able to go from one place to etc., etc. And there was a lot of debate at a point. And some people, and it's interesting the way Reuters is putting it as, are we fact checking the thing, the information that this person is saying, because this person said in a false comment, he said that, shocker, Pfizer said XYZ, when that person is not against Pfizer, he's against the government's policies. And that's when it's tricky, because you make it believe that this guy is spreading false information when actually no, he's telling you exactly what she said. And now, what is the basis? And that's the question that I'm asking. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm saying, what was the basis in this case for, what is the basis in this case for forcing everybody to live a draconian life once the doors, when everybody could go outside, when in reality, we don't know, or maybe we know now, but I mean, at that time, we didn't know if it would change anything if the vaccinated and the unvaccinated walked in the same street. I remember having a long debate. I remember doing a club Shada where I was like saying, hey, I'm done. I'm tired of trying to force people to get vaccinated, etc., to explain to them how it's good. I have this friend, he's a bus driver and he doesn't want to get vaccinated because he doesn't want to put it in his body. He wants to wait. He wants to wait for science to say this, that, etc. Like all this, right? And that person, I had a long ass debate with that person, and I was telling him, nah, bro, you have to do it. You in your auto car, and if you're sick, what about, Emmanuel Etienne, thank you so much for $5 Canadian dollar donation. Thank you so much for your creativity in music, and welcome, sister. So, as I was saying, we were having this long ass conversation, and I was telling him, hey, you have to be vaccinated, because they are saying in all TV stations, all these people, all the politicians were saying, if you are vaccinated, you are not spreading the virus to other people. Once you are vaccinated, you're not spreading it to other people. So this is a good reason to be vaccinated. And if you're driving a bus, you're good. You cannot drive a bus and just be there spreading the virus to other people. I remember having this conversation with him, and I'm sure I said it in Club Shada as well at a point. And now you realize that in the beginning, maybe the studies are different now, I don't know. But at that time, so I'm talking at that time, 2 years ago, they actually didn't know. But the governments told us, no, we know, this is why you have the QR codes. So I remember telling him, hey, you have people coming to your bus, you have to be responsible because you drive a bus. You're a public servant, and I believe that all of you public servants should be vaccinated. And in reality, nobody knew if it changed anything. So I'm going to have to call him and tell him, yeah, bro, you were right. You were right. You didn't have to, because it didn't change nothing in reality. Because what the person from Pfizer said is that people who are vaccinated, it was lowering the risk of having a severe COVID like I had, or worse than what I had. And for more people, they would become asymptomatic. But in this case, the millions of people who were asymptomatic didn't have to get vaccinated. If anyway, it didn't change something. It didn't change nothing, or nobody knew. In this case, listen, if you're scared, get vaccinated, you're good. Everybody else, if they're feeling healthy or they have COVID and it doesn't do them nothing, they don't have to stay at home. I understand you are trying to stop the spread. So it's not black or white. It's just that the basis, and I believe that's what this politician that I don't know is from Dutch, from Holland, from the Netherlands. From what I'm understanding, is just saying what was the base of all the draconian rules that people impose on their citizens. We have the right to ask the question. Not only for the people who, there's some people that still don't want to get vaccinated, and you have people, some people, me, I was like, listen, after what I live, give me that vaccine. Put it, first dose, feeling good. Then I put the second dose, my booster. I didn't feel so well for a week, but after that I was fine. And I've been fine the whole time. I just want to go do a heart check just because of what happened to Mika Ben, and because there's been some report of people having some effect like on the heart, etc. We don't know. And when we don't know, instead of yelling no, I'd rather go and make sure, because it is fine to have a balance between, the people who say something and the people who say the opposite, because everything is still relatively unknown. Like 3 years ago, all this was not there. So in my opinion, I really believe that there's a basis to ask questions. And there's something that you have to also understand that we have to also put in account, is something that I tweeted today. Where's my profile? I tweeted, where's my tweet? All right. This is what I tweeted. All science should strive to all science should strive to be free from financial conflicts of interest. And I believe that when you are, as the EU Parliament, the EU community, deciding for all of us and buying 30 billion doses to Pfizer and them of vaccine doses, I believe that everything should be transparent. And interestingly, the CEO of Pfizer, the CEO was supposed to come to that hearing. He didn't come. He sent that woman, and he was like, nah, I'm not going, whatever the reason. And van der Leyen, the president of the EU, still doesn't want to show us her private communication with the CEO of Pfizer. So if you are starting to put some black holes, people will start doing conspiracy theories and ask themselves if there's any corruption in there. And If you are transparent, yeah, people will look at the data and see and make sure there's no conflict of interest. Because don't forget something, all these people, the CNNs and all these people who are telling you a version that is the same as Pfizer, they are sponsored by Pfizer. So listen, the big pharma is sponsoring a lot of these people, and the big tech, all these people are working hand in hand. So if the people who said a year ago or 2 years ago, listen, the transmission, we're not sure. Some people just said that, we're not sure. They got banned from Twitter, they got banned from YouTube. Their video got removed, or he had fact checked, he's saying something. And there's something that people are not asking themselves now. Who are the fact checkers? Who make sure that the fact checkers are not themselves biased?